It looks like he's getting his audio connected here. As soon as he is, we'll call the meeting to order.
Okay.
Okay, the YouTube stream is live, just so everybody is aware.
Hello, Marquette. Welcome to all the people who are watching the Wastewater Advisory Board meeting.
Okay, I'm good to go as soon as you guys are.
Yeah, let's
Yep.
go.
Still waiting for Harold's audio by the looks of things. If there's no objections, though, we could call the meeting to order. It's just we don't have adequate representation from the city of Marquette with only Mickey on audio currently.
Okay. Let me give
I
Harold.
think we need Harold on completely before we should start.
Okay.
I'll give him a call. Hey, are you on? Did you turn on your audio?
Tell him he just needs to tap the microphone button and probably the bottom left.
Yeah. Tap the microphone button. You did that, Sean.
Okay.
Join audio. He's dialing a number.
What'd you say, Kurt?
He said he was trying to dial a number. He can see us. He can see us.
Do you know what kind of device he's using?
What kind of device you using? What? Yeah, computer.
Does it have a microphone?
Does it have a microphone? Good question.
So if you see the microphone button, there's a little arrow next to it. If you click on that, you can switch to phone audio and just call in. Is that what he's trying to do?
Just call in.
Just put them on speakerphone.
Okay. He said go ahead. He can see us.
He can see us, but can he hear us?
Yeah. He's gonna try calling in.
All right, let's call the meeting to order. The clock on my computer says 10:05 a.m. Thursday, April 16th. Roll call looks like we have myself, Chalkley Township, Brad Johnson, Mickey Brum, Harold Hayes from the city of Marquette still logging on. We have staff, Mark O'Neill, Kurt Goodman, Pam Greenleaf taking notes. Looks like she's muted currently. And we have Craig, I apologize if I butcher your last name, Heisel, on for the SRF amendment update, I believe, correct, Kurt?
Correct.
Okay, and before we approve the agenda, we are going to move that item to, where are we moving it, Kurt?
I'd say right after the approval of the minutes.
Okay, that's fine. I think based on the interest of time, that's probably the most important item we have. Harold, is that you?
Yep, I can hear you guys.
Okay, great. Okay,
Great.
so, and Gary Simpson is unavailable due to schedule conflicts, so he would be the only member present or absent currently. I think we've covered others in attendance. With that, I'd look for approval of the agenda as amended. That would be moving item 4A to, I guess, let's call it 2A, because we should approve the prior minutes first.
Make a motion to do that.
Is there support?
I'll
I
second
support.
it.
Okay, so we had a motion by Brad, support by Mickey, I believe was first. Any other discussion on the agenda?
I have a point of order on the agenda. I'd like to make an action item B that we're adopting the same procedure for remote meeting that the Marquette City Commission adopted in Monday night's meeting, which is to say that the remote meeting counts the same as a regular meeting, and that what we're doing has the same effect as if we were all in the same room together. I think it's a procedural issue, but I would feel more comfortable if we simply acknowledged that we're following the Marquette City Commission procedure on remote meetings.
Was that a motion, Mickey? No,
Yes,
we do have a motion on the floor, which we need to address first. How about after, immediately following the approval of the revised agenda, we go straight into that action?
that sounds good.
Any other discussion? All in favor of approving the agenda as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, actually, do we need to do a roll call or a voice vote on that? Individual vote? Based on the circumstances here.
Second.
You want us to just say our name if we agree?
I think we should just go individually. Mickey,
Margaret Brum agrees.
Brad,
Yes.
Harold?
Yes.
I'm a yes, motion carries. I didn't miss anyone, right? Okay, so
How many members
on
are
to-
present?
there's 4 of us. We're
Okay.
missing Gary. And of course, you may recall there is technically a vacancy for the city of Marquette. Okay, so on to Mickey's point of order. Did you want to restate that as a motion, Mickey?
Yes, I would like to make a motion that the Marquette Area Wastewater Treatment Advisory Board is adopting the same new way of having remote meetings that the Marquette City Commission adopted at their meeting Monday, April 13th, without any need to amend what they're doing. In effect, we're all moving to remote meetings until the time of the COVID-19 situation resolves itself. But I think we should have something in the record that says we're following the Marquette City Commission procedures and that we don't feel any need to have different procedures. So my motion is that the Marquette Area Wastewater Treatment Board adopt the Marquette City Commission remote meeting procedures from their meeting on April 13th, and that we proceed under those rules so that everything we do today counts as a regular meeting.
Is there support for that motion?
I guess my problem is I don't know what the rules say. So I mean, if we can disagree amongst ourselves that this is an official meeting, what's the difference?
Yeah, I would
go ahead.
propose a friendly amendment and indicate that it's in accordance with the governor's executive order, which basically allows for virtual meetings.
Okay, I can amend my motion if it's okay with everyone. My new amended motion is that the Marquette Area Wastewater Treatment Board, in accordance with the governor's directive to not have in-person meetings, is having this meeting virtually, and that everything we do in this meeting should count as though it were a meeting where we're all in the same room together. How's that?
I like it.
We'll support that.
I'll second that.
I think we had a support by Brad already. Is that correct?
Harold can take it. That's fine. Either way.
Well, no need to fight, fellas. Motion by Mickey, support by Brad to basically adopt the restrictions of the governor's executive order to meet virtually, and that actions stand as though we were meeting in person. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye for Mickey, Harold, Brad.
Aye.
Aye for me. Motion carries. Meeting minutes of February, March 2020. We actually did not meet in March, correct? So they would be February.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes for February.
I second the motion to approve the minutes of February as written.
Any
I
objections?
had one question. I had a question on a word that I didn't quite understand in this minutes, and it's under item, looks like 2, operation report for January 2020. There's something we're talking about land application, solids disposal. Somebody says in their influent will have to be side stream back to the plant until the snow melts. What does that mean? Does that mean the decant? It's on page 2 of 4, the second
Yes.
paragraph down.
Yes, that would have been the decant, is what that should say.
My English, I just want to clarify that. Okay.
So if we could
That's the only
clean up
question I
that,
had.
if we could clean up that paragraph to specify that the statement is referring to decant, all other concerns are addressed.
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion and support to approve the minutes of the February 2020 meeting. I'm going to continue going by voice according to how I see you on my screen. Mickey,
Approved.
Brad, Harold?
Approve.
I'm a yes, motion carries. Okay, so let's move on to the SRF amendment. And somebody's going to share their screen for this.
That's sorry. That's something that Scott could do that, or
We got it.
And all of that information was included in our packet as well, correct?
Yes.
So the information on the screen is for the benefit of anyone watching on YouTube.
Mhm.
Kirk, do I have the right document here?
Yeah, just go up a couple more. To the public hearing. One more.
That one?
Start right there. And then is Craig on?
yeah, I'm here. Can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yep.
I can
Yes.
hear you fine.
Okay, it's all yours, Craig.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, everyone. We appreciate the opportunity to go through this. So, we've been working with the city and with Kurt and Mark and others on this project for, a couple years now. And I'd say that it's evolving some. So we thought this would be a good opportunity to, kind of walk through some of the, an overview, some of the goals of the project, some of the project elements that are involved. And then we just have a slide on the timeline, I'll say, just to kind of give everybody a frame of reference. And then we just have a couple kind of leaving thoughts, as this project progresses. So we'll kind of go through these and if anybody has any questions or comments, just interject as we're going through them. Does that all sound okay with everybody?
Yep.
Sounds good.
Sure.
Yes.
So, my name is just to provide a little bit of background. My name is Craig Heisel, and I'm with Donahue, and Donahue is the same company that did a lot of the work related to the treatment facilities improvements and has been involved in the facilities there for several years, and you know, we're definitely pleased to be a part of this project. So just a little bit on some of the goals and objectives, because I think these offer an important perspective. You know, I think part of it is to provide some kind of regional septage, high-strength waste, and fog receiving for the area. Right now, a lot of those hauled waste, I'll call them, you know, go from the community to other issuing and some other wastewater treatment facilities. And the concept is to treat those hauled waste
You move the slide, John?
treatment plant.
What did you say?
So
Move the
Slide.
slide.
did somebody have a question? I'm sorry.
This is the only thing I see regarding this.
No, keep going. There you go.
Okay.
I'm just on the project goals and objectives, and then I think the concept. So the city has some additional capacity in their anaerobic digestion facility, based on kind of a solids loading and a hydraulic loading perspective, and there's also some additional opportunity. You know, if those hauled wastes are treated anaerobically, to utilize the digester gas that's created from that process in the existing combined heat and power system. So a concept is to leverage those existing assets, you know, to facilitate the treatment of those wastes. And then, you know, additionally, those wastes that go to other communities, you know, the majority of those are treated through the liquids treatment process. So in that case, you know, they're an energy sink, and in this case, I think the city's hoping to make those wastes an energy source. And then there's also tipping fees and things like that that are associated with it. So that's the first three elements. And then another concept for this project is to transition from, you know, mostly liquid biosolids disposal to a majority dewatered biosolids disposal. And I think part of that is just the market for biosolids disposal is changing, and there's also a cost component associated with that, in that, you know, dewatered biosolids disposal is about, you know, on a dry solids basis is about half of what liquid solids disposal is. So I think there's some economic advantage to that as well. And then, you know, finally, as part of this, you know, the city has a single unit that both thickens and dewaters. And as part of the asset management planning, you know, concept was to, you know, provide some additional redundancy and reliability in that system. And so the additional dewatering supports that goal as well. Does that all seem okay?
I have a comment. And this has more to do with when you're going to do the public hearing on these slides. I'm not sure that everybody's familiar with what septage, HSW, and FOG stand for. I had to go through the slides about 3 times before I found high solids waste and fats, oil, and grease. I'm just going to suggest the first time you use those abbreviations that you explain what they are in the text and then just run with it, because once it's explained, but I pride myself on knowing most abbreviations, and I had a hard time with that. And nothing wrong with it. Everybody in the room knows what it is. It's just when you explain it at the public hearing, you're going to get some puzzled faces why we're dealing with fog.
I have one comment on that also, is that I see where we're providing facilities for septage and fog, but there's really nothing as far as, there's no discussion on what the volume might be for HSW and what actually is it. I mean, where is this coming from?
So I can.
What is HSW as far as who produces it and where, you know, and what is it?
Yeah, so a couple comments on that. So thank you, Margaret, for that. I think that we'll definitely do that to clarify, high-strength waste and fats, oils, and greases, because you agree that's a little confusing. And I think, we kind of went through some, I'll say, market analysis with Mark and Kurt, and then, some of the hauled waste services in the area. And I think the majority of what we're looking at now is around septage. And I think the market there is around maybe 2 million gallons a year. And our initial estimate, just assumed about half of that would come to the city, and maybe that would evolve over time. And then I think that there's a market for fats, oils, and greases, just with the city's, coordinating with restaurants and grease traps and things like that. And then there was also a market analysis done by Dr. Kurt with Michigan State, and that analysis identified some potential sources in the area, breweries. There's a dairy in your area, and then restaurants and things like that. And I think initially, we didn't identify kind of many useful sources of that. But I think that that's something that, if the city, and then we work with other communities on this, if the city kind of constructs around a liquid high-strength waste potential, then, that's something that, that you can work with the community on, maybe around the breweries and things like that. But initially, we didn't think there's much opportunity for the high-strength waste component. And I think we can make available, all the kind of economic analysis that we did.
Can I make a suggestion just from a presentation point of view? It wouldn't hurt if you had one introduction slide that said, septage is this, and this is where we think we'll get it from. HSW is this, and this is where we think we'll get it from. And FOG is this, and this is where we think we'll get it from. Because I think the point about where it's coming from and how much it is, that's a reasonable point, because there's a huge amount of opportunity here, but it's hard to put it together if you just apologize for the bluntness of the statement. If you start in the middle and assume your audience knows what you're talking about, it never hurts to have an introductory slide saying, I'm talking about this, this, and this, and it comes from that, that, and that.
Yeah, can I interrupt? Hey, Margaret, or advisory board, this presentation right now is it's right now for the advisory board. With Donahue is working on the formal presentation for the public hearing, and definitely your comments and Harold's comment, all the board's comments will be incorporated into that public hearing presentation. So
I appreciate that, Kurt. And if I'd been on the ball, I would have gotten this in writing to everybody in advance, but it just wasn't that sort of a day. I want this to be a very successful presentation.
yes.
I want the people on the board and the people in the room at the commission to understand this is a really good deal for the city and the commission, and it's forward progress. And let's face it, it's a year in which forward progress has stopped in a lot of other parts. And this is forward progress, long-term thinking.
Yeah.
I want it to be successful is what I'm saying.
Yep. And I was going to comment at the end of the presentation about some of the things you just said.
Okay.
Thank you, Margaret. That's great. And we definitely appreciate the feedback. So, the next slide, just as the goal here is just to highlight a few of the project elements. There's a site plan of the facility, which everybody's familiar with. And again, it's kind of in a very preliminary stage, I'll call it. So we've worked on, with Mark and Kurt and others at the facility there, just some concepts for, site layout of these facilities. And the concept is to include a dewatering facility, with a single belt filter press, room for a second, some additional cake storage. And again, the goal there is to transition from liquid, mostly liquid to solids hauling. So what we'd like to see is 180 days of cake storage. And right now, with your existing cake storage, you have maybe half of that or a little more. And there'll be a location for this high-strength waste and septage and fog receiving that we talked about, and some processing facilities there to, protect the wastewater treatment facility. And then the concept of anaerobic digestion and utilizing the existing combined heat and power system. So, just to reinforce that, the city's already invested in those facilities. About half of the operation of those facilities is on natural gas currently, and the more digester gas that you can produce, the less natural gas you're going to have to purchase, for that production. And then another final key element we think is the ability to pump from your liquid solid storage to your dewatering, and again that reinforces the let's say in the springtime or in the summertime, when the liquid solids tanks have some volume in them, we could run that through the dewatering system and turn that into cake, and then haul it out. And again, to address that kind of cost component differential associated with dewatered solids versus liquid. Does that all sound okay?
Mhm.
Hey, Sean, next slide.
So just a little bit on the timeline, and I think most of everyone as part of this is familiar with this, but sometimes it helps just to kind of go through kind of what's the structure of the problem of the project and where it began. So the city developed a project plan, submitted to Eagle first quarter 2019. And that project plan included several elements of water collection, water distribution, wastewater collection, water distribution, and then it also included one project element. There was the solids handling plan, and the alternative that was in that solids handling plan was really just for the dewatering facility, and then there was the capital cost for that and a net present value that we've updated, and then I think as part of the treatment facility, looking at, continuous improvement and some additions to it, it evolved into the septage, high-strength waste fog processing and the value of that. And so then working with regulatory agency Eagle on that, we updated the project plan, and that was submitted or sent as a draft to Eagle, and then that's kind of where we're at now, and that incorporates not only the dewatering facility, but also this high-strength waste septage and energy utilization component of it. So that's what's in the project plan amendment now. All that information is available, and then the concept is in May to present that to the commission, and then get approval on that submittal for that project plan. And then, if that then moves forward, then we're hopeful in discussions with Eagle that June or July we'll have some feedback on potential green project reserve principal reduction for the project, and then kind of also work through where this project may fit kind of in the utilities in the capital improvement budget for all the different communities. Does that all sound okay?
It sounds great. One more comment on the slides. Your advantage, the one that leapt out to me for advantage was the fact that the more of this type of waste you take in, the less natural gas you have to buy. So maybe that could be one of the things on the first slide, and the remainder of the advantages be worked into the timeline here. The fact is this particular timeline started with different commissioners. So you're going to have to face an audience that Commissioner Bonsall, Commissioner Davis are brand new to this. They weren't there for these discussions.
Yeah.
So you'll have 2 out of 7 members of the board who weren't familiar with the history.
Yeah. And Kurt, can I just say a couple things? Mickey's 100% correct. And once again, this is just sort of give the update as we develop the slides, the actual slides for the public hearing. And when those are done, we'll definitely send them out to the board. But
I'd love to see them, Kurt. I'd love
Yeah.
to see them.
but once again, this is I tried to say in an email that I sent out earlier, and I sent it to city manager, and communications has been done to our city commission, that the public hearing, we're just asking for the commission to pass a resolution to submit a project amendment. There's no financial commitment is being made at this time. If we don't do this one step, we're out of the running for any green reserve forgiveness. So that's my difficult part. You know, I need to explain to that without doing this step, we could, you know, eventually lose 40% loan forgiveness. And also what we're doing is, I think Mark earlier said an excellent, the city has invested over $2 billion in the cogen units. And to maximize the efficiency, doing this type of project will really reduce the natural gas usage and, you know, and get more of a better return on investment. That's the whole, we took the JCI did look at this, but they looked at a very low level. We took it to a whole different step. But seeing how we have these units, I think this is a sort of a good project. And again, as we get into detailed design, a lot of the, you know, will be defined much better. But good points. Definitely, we want to make sure the board's aware of the process.
If I may add to Kurt, I think there's a couple of other things to add to what both you and Mickey have said, and that is, one, Commissioner Bonzal was definitely seated when I did my annual presentation, my first annual presentation to the city commission. So he would be familiar with it. The newest member, maybe not so much. So either way, the future presentations at the public hearing are going to have to be as informative as possible. There's no doubt about it. The other thing is the second aspect of the project, which is the collection system for the trucked wastewater, whether it's high strength, fog, whatever. That is as much a housekeeping part of the project as anything to help maintain compliance with the NPDES permit, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, I think Mark was going to talk on that.
Okay. Don't mean to steal your thunder, Mark.
No, that's all right.
Why
I
is
guess
it related to the NPDS permit? I don't get that.
basically this project started off as simple as we need more space for biosolids. And in order to make this project affordable, while at the same time providing more services and maximizing, like Kurt said, the cogen units, that's where the whole septage and all that started to come into play. And for right now, our focus is going to be on the septage and the fog, but we wanted to design it for the future that, you know, we would be able to go out and look for high strength waste, and we'll be prepared to take it. That's all I had.
Yeah. And one thing, we're getting very good backing from Eagle and also Marquette County Health Department. We're providing a service that's much needed. A lot of facilities right now, there's a few are taking septage, but really they're not set up for it. So, you know, they would love to see, you know, a community like Marquette sort of, you know, doing a project that really, you know, is really treats that type of waste from a regulatory compliance. And also all the haulers, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, are very excited about this. You know, so it's all good for not only the city of Marquette, the townships, but the whole county.
And by adding this project, this element to the project, it opens it up for the chance of loan forgiveness from the Green Project Reserve.
Yeah, that's huge.
Be anywhere from 20 to 40%. And we won't have that we won't know if we're eligible for it and how much it's going to be until later this summer. But we're hopeful that we will qualify for that.
Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to actually apply. Right?
Exactly. Yep,
You don't get what you don't ask for.
exactly. I've done 5 of these state revolving funds, and about 3 of them has resulted in over $3 million in loan forgiveness. And, that's since 2004. And what John said is 100%. If we don't take this step, we won't even be considered. And we got great support from Eagle.
One more suggestion, just because I'm on a roll. I love the idea that you've got interest from specific groups to have Marquette start doing this. It would be lovely if those groups would be willing to have their name on the slides now. Because that would indicate to the commission that there's real people who want Marquette to do this, not just the wastewater plant wanting to do it on their own. I know I'm being really, challenging on this,
No.
but I watched the presentation on the wastewater commission, and I watched the commissioners listen, and it was pretty obvious that they wanted to get to the next item on the agenda. And so if they know that there's a lot of community interest in this plan, there's loan forgiveness possibility. We've had success in the past with this, and it's a good thing for the city and the county of Marquette, for Marquette to go for this. That's what they'll listen to. And they especially listen when local businesses say, hey, we want this. And you know what? How about if I promise that's my last comment on the slides for today?
I had a comment on the, I guess, looking at the economics of this. One is basically have 2 projects. One is to reduce the cost of disposal of biosolids. I mean, is make that as cheap as possible. And the other option is to create more, how would you say that, energy for the biogas system, for the energy production. Is there a way to I guess, I know they're a combined project, but is there a way to show the economics for each one separately?
Sure.
One issue is we're reducing our biosolids hauling or disposal costs, making that the minimum that we can. The other one is receiving all this high strength waste and septage. And that's basically to create more energy for our engines to operate. Is that not the case?
Right, can you
Because
touch
I
on
know
that?
it's good to be altruistic, but I don't really care if we're providing a service to somebody out in the county that, it's just gonna be nice for him to be able to do this, to get rid of his septage. And the city of Marquette is not, at least the citizens don't really care if we're providing a service to some septic hauler.
But by providing that service, we're also taking in revenue, and it's going to be
Right. That's basically what we're doing. And so I think that's all we have. I mean, it's good to say these other words because gets everybody on board. But the basic economics is what we really need to look at here. Are we going to take in enough? Is our tipping fees going to be enough to offset all the costs down the road? We're looking at a 30-year project here.
So maybe I
that's
could.
my only comment.
Sorry. So those are all great comments. And I've just been taking notes as we're talking here. And then I think, as Kurt said, we'll make some updates to this, and I'll say transform it to, for the, for the public hearing. And then I think it'd be good, we'll make those slides available to get some additional feedback. Maybe as we're talking through this, so I'm on this last slide, number 5 here, opportunities, but it seems to me that this should be the first slide, to identify with a little more detail, because the goal here is to communicate, the value that this project will provide to the city or to the community, but obviously there's a cost associated with uncovering that value. So those, and then, you know, I think we can definitely go through each component. You know, here's our judgments for, you know, additional gas production, and then the offset of natural gas. We can provide judgments for transitioning from liquid solids to, you know, to mostly biosolids, and then we can make some judgments on the tipping fee estimates, and we can individualize those. You know, and then the other element is this principal reduction that we've kind of touched on as well.
And Craig, just to let you know, I know through the state revolving fund process, the public hearing needs to hit certain bullets that's required by the program, and that will be incorporated in the public hearing. You know, those are sort of check the boxes. And one thing we're working on with our utility, our financial consultant, Donnie was working closely, the impact on the average user. So those are some costs that will be are being developed right now. So that's definitely an important item that will be presented at the public hearing.
One of the things I know I said I wouldn't talk anymore, but you know that I can't not talk. This is separate from any concerns about COVID-19.
Correct.
And that might be really important to put in the first slide, because there's going to be so much for the rest of the year and beyond that relates to COVID-19. This is a long-term project with a lot of preparation work done, and it fits the city master plan, and it allows for growth in the city of Marquette, which is the, you know, the buzzwords that they're looking for.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, thanks. You know, we definitely appreciate being a part of this project, and you know, I think with Mark and Kurt and others, we'll keep moving forward.
Yeah. One thing I just want to talk to the board about, you know, as part of the process, we need to go through it's called a qualification-based selection for an engineer. In the next month, we're gonna have to put out a request for qualifications for proposals. The states, there is a process for competitive. So that will be, I'm working on that right now. So based on our scope moving forward, because the contract eventually that we're going to hire a consultant needs to be looked at. Does Donahue have an advantage? Yes. But do other firms have the ability to provide the same service moving forward? Because that's going to be a pretty big contract for the engineering construction services. So that's just following and also the city's policy for you know, requesting proposals for any large projects. So that's something I'll be working on in the next month, and I hope to maybe award that or make a recommendation probably the first meeting in last meeting in June. So that's just something I'm working on to meet the city's charters and the state revolving fund requirements. I'm done.
I'd like to say one thing. I like Brad's hat better than yours.
Okay.
If it well, thanks again, everyone. If it's okay, Kurt, I was just going to drop off.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Craig.
you, and
Thank you
stay
very
safe.
much. Well done.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, so there wasn't any specific action necessary for that item. It was more of an update on the
Correct.
progress of the application and amendment, correct?
Correct.
Yep. Okay. Well, we appreciate that, or at least I speak for myself on that. I
I
think-
very much appreciated the opportunity to give him feedback before the commission sees those slides.
Mhm.
And I think that his approach is very well said. There's so much going on here. And the fact is there's a huge opportunity to move Marquette forward.
Yeah, and just so you know, I'm not that worried about the commission. We definitely have been giving them information. I wrote the city manager, a email, so they're well aware of the public hearing, and I know Jen Hill is very up on this. So I think it's just one more step, just getting pass a resolution just to continue this process.
All right, so we're running short on time to stay on schedule for our subsequent meetings. If everyone's okay, I'd like to move on to the financial report. And
I can sort of give it. I reviewed it, talked to Gary. I think everyone said it. If anyone has any specific questions, feel free, but I think we're in good shape. No surprises.
the email that I shared with everyone for anyone that might be following on YouTube was this month's report was pretty status quo based on what we've been seeing. The one issue being the plant not generating enough gas to run both generators off of plant gas currently, which is not changed.
Correct.
Okay, any other discussion regarding the financial report?
Not for me, no.
And thanks to Gary again for getting us that, as he always does. I appreciate that. All right, operations.
The operations are challenging right now. We've basically, because of what's going on with COVID, we broke it down into 2 crews, trying to minimize the staff at the plant. We have them staying away from each other when they are. One crew works a week, covers the whole week. The other crew is off, and then they switch. Me and Kurt are working from home. Operationally, the plant's running well for this time of year. We had no violations, obviously. We were hoping to start biosolids hauling the cake this week. However, the storm changed that. Currently, we're completely full with cake. We cannot process anymore. I'm working with our contractor, Van Dam, trying to get some dump trailers down here to the plant, and that'll give us some flexibility. So for right now, what we're doing is every day we have to transfer over solids from our digesters. We have to return the same amount of gallons to the treatment plant, and we can't give it enough time to separate like we normally would. So it's higher strength, and our effluent, it's showing. Our total solids percent removal's gone down from on an average of about 98% down to the high 80s. We're still meeting permit easily enough, but it is having an impact.
So that just stresses the importance of adding this cake storage.
Exactly. We need space, and it's a stressful time for us operators to operate the treatment plant, when we're overloading it, basically. Luckily, we have a really robust plant. And then another thing that we've been lucky with, this weather has been good in the sense it's been a slow melt. Our flows are up about 700, 800,000 gallons a day right now, where last year they were up about 1.5 million gallons.
All right,
about
3 minutes.
Okay. So other than that, we're rolling along. Things are going good. Haven't had any issues, but everybody is available if there is an emergency. Me and Kurt are available 24/7, and things are good. That's all I got.
How about that operator who tripped and fell getting out of his truck 3 days after he came back? How's he doing?
Yes, he came back, and then this whole COVID thing took over, and he's our mechanic, and we have stopped all of our maintenance unless we're trying to fit in what we can, but we figured that's something we could defer for a short period of time. So he is at home.
Okay.
He's available if we need him.
Okay. Mostly because I was hoping he wouldn't have a third accident. Because
exactly. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
And then one other quick thing,
guys
I
wanna-
trucked wastewater I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
BLP is doing a project to close their, where they used to store the coal and the ash. So that revenue that we generate every year from them is going to be going away.
All right.
You guys want to mention that you got the city commission to approve the rental of that pump you needed to meet the requirements?
Yeah, I could talk on that. We got the pump rental on site, and also the city commission approved our 2-3-year contracts with our two biosolids haulers. So that's all good. Everything's placed. That's some good administrative work or administrative stuff done to make Mark's life easy moving forward.
Yes.
It also means that if somebody from the state says, did you really pay attention to our letter about these rainfall events?
Yep,
You really
correct.
did pay attention to that letter.
They are well aware that we have it on site and they appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good to know.
Yep.
Okay, we're still running out of time. Can we move on?
Yep.
Yep.
We got 2 minutes.
So that report, I think Mark covered, we are in compliance with the MPDES permit. Any updates on the performance contract?
No, not at this time. We've been collecting monthly data, everything. Our communication's been with the vendor. Very little documentation from JCI, but we're fine right now, so we haven't had any troubles. They're running fine, so that's about it.
Thank you. All right, we handled 4A as 2A. Any other updates on the sewer ordinance?
Yep, I had about an hour call with the city attorney yesterday. We're doing a legal review right now. There's gonna be we're writing down some questions for the consultant. Also, working with the Chocolate. So I would say within about a month, we might be ready to do a public hearing. So that's going very good. So.
All right, good news. New business. Anyone have any new business?
Nope, I got a FEMA call.
All right, I've got an Eagle call here. Last call for new business. Harold?
Nope.
Brad?
Nope.
Mickey?
Just to report, the PFAS conference that was supposed to take place yesterday has been indefinitely postponed. I'll let you know when it's rescheduled.
Pretty typical of any conferences these days.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no new business. Public comment?
There's
I don't
nobody waiting for public comment.
All right, perfect. Last chance for board comment.
Yep. Oh, can I make one? Thank you, Sean, very much.
Yes, appreciate it. All right, was there a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn from Brum.
Motion from Mickey, support by Brad. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? We're adjourned.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Guys.
Sean.